Natalie seemed like a genuinely good-hearted person. Someone who maybe wanted a green card, but is here for the right reasons. She was looking forward to actually getting married. My wife asked me to watch 90 Day Fiance, and I'm hooked. I like what I'm watching. I like what I'm seeing out there. I like the way they set up the show. 90 Day Fiance, if you guys don't know about it, is where people come over from different countries and they have 90 days. They apply for a K1 visa, pay what they need to pay, and they come over and, they have 90 days to decide whether or not they want to get married. But the whole idea of coming over is to get married, and the people from other countries will now get their green card and they're able to stay in the United States. So I wanted to talk about Natalie and Mike. And what I just saw in this last episode was just like, man. So anyway, let me give you the backstory of Natalie and Mike. She came over from the Ukraine. She has, from what I seen in this last episode, they have about 4 days left before she has to go back and her visa is expired. When it expires, she'll be here illegally. From what I had seen in this last episode, Natalie is telling Mike, hey, we really gonna do this tomorrow. Now this is talking about the very next day, right? So, and he's responding to her like in a way like, she's super excited. She's excited that she's about to get married. The next day, she'll get her green card. She's able to live in the States and she don't have to worry about going back to the Ukraine. But she looks like she's genuinely excited about getting married to Mike. And she's asking him, we really gonna do this tomorrow? Like, we really gonna get married? And he's just like, yeah, we're gonna do it. On the day of, in this last episode, on the day of, he calls her outside and he tells her, nah, I have a change of heart. So they don't pick up from that point. They just kind of picked up from where she's just crying. And I'm like, man, it got me to thinking like, man, the freedom we have here in this country. The freedom to not care about nobody's emotions, not care about nobody's well-being but our own. Whatever happened to being selfless? You're talking about somebody who's your fiance. You just crumble and break them down to the lowest. You just break them down and tell them on the day of their wedding that they're not going to get married to you. Listen, I understand. You guys let me know what you think, but I understand like if I understand how people can have a change of heart. I get that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand people have a change of heart and they're entitled to change, especially for something such a large commitment as marriage is concerned. But I think a lot of people in American culture take marriage for granted. All the work that's involved in marriage. And I think that's a part of our upbringing with like, they have this Disney fairy tale like idea of marriage. And that's not what marriage is. Anybody who's been married long enough can tell you that that's not what marriage is. Marriage is hard work. Marriage is working together, working side by side, not one in front of the other. Is somebody that's by your side, your partner for the rest of your life. Taking that into consideration, if you objectifying your partner, you're off to a bad start. Let me know what you guys think about that. Because in 90 Day Fiance, I'm seeing a lot of like one of the partners are objectifying the other, whether it be a pretty face, whether it be, the way their body shape is. There's always like somebody objectifying the other, and they think they're right. But they're not seeing it from the outside looking in. They're not seeing it from our perspective, the viewer's perspective. There was another lady, I forgot her name. She was saying that she was upset. She lost her own engagement ring and she was mad at her fiance for not feeling a certain way. I just don't. You lose the engagement ring that was supposed to be something of extreme value, as she said it to herself. It was the most, like, it was the best, most romantic day of her life to get that engagement ring in the Sahara Desert. She lost it and she's upset at her partner for not having a concern. Now, there's different ways to look at this thing. And this is what I mean by objectifying, because there's different ways to look at this. Like, if you lose something of extreme value to you, wouldn't you feel bad that you lost it? Instead of getting anger, instead of anger being your like primary emotion towards your partner, the person who actually gave you the ring and the person that actually created that memory, you're mad at them because you lost it. So there's things like this that I can't understand with like with Mike and Natalie and him breaking her down on the actual day of her wedding. There's so much more at stake than an American wedding. Let's say like two Americans getting married, where if one decides they could just kind of move on and stay in the States. But you playing with people's emotions when you bring them out. And again, I wanna break this down because we know she's from the Ukraine, and easily you could develop ideas about somebody just wanting to get their green card. From what was presented, and I phrased this properly, from what was presented by the producers, Natalie seemed like a genuinely good-hearted person. Someone who maybe wanted a green card, but is here for the right reasons. She was looking forward to actually getting married. And with that appreciation for receiving a green card, it seemed like she was going to be the type of wife that would actually do good by her husband and by the person that brought her into the States. She had money already. She was previously married and she had this like fairy tale wedding. So, and he was presenting her with something that was way less than a fairy tale wedding, and she was still all for it. At least this is what the producers have presented in 90 Day Fiance. So when you see a woman like that coming to the States, this is my opinion, y'all. You let me know what you think, and let me know in the comment section below. But you don't play with people's emotions like that on the day of. Just crush them. And she was broken down, crying, as you guys saw in the thumbnail. If you haven't seen this last episode of 90 Day Fiance, go check it out. But yeah, she was just broken and torn apart. Not to mention that she has to leave the States on the day of and then find a way into Europe because her borders to the Ukraine were closed. And she didn't have no place to live, nowhere to go, doesn't know what's going to happen. Now imagine doing that to somebody. Imagine on the day of leaving somebody with no options who came to your country. Another thing I wanted to talk about is like, why are we forgetting? Like, why are we forgetting that? I think if I was to invite somebody to come from another country and come with the idea that we may get married, I would make sure that I cater to them in a specific way in which they felt comfortable in this new world, in this new land that they know very little about. And all too often, I'm watching these episodes and I'm like, where is this at? Where is the hospitality? There should be some level of American hospitality offered to someone who's coming from another country because it's scary. Think about the last time that you moved, whether it be from one area to another or one state to another. Think about that, how it is when you actually move. You're in a new place, a new land is unfamiliar. A lot of things leave you anxious and leave you a little bit scared of just not knowing. Now imagine coming to a whole nother country, how that would feel. It's a little bit overwhelming, I imagine. So, you're looking, I imagine the person that's coming from another country is seeking out some level of comfort and security coming to a whole new country. And you thinking that, maybe marriage would offer you that comfort and security. But when the person that's on American soil doesn't provide that, and let alone objectifies the person, making them an object as opposed to seeing them as human beings. What I've learned also from watching 90 Day Fiance is that, man, these people from these other countries seem to have a lot of culture. And I don't know how to phrase this because I don't want to disrespect anybody. I don't want to come across the wrong way, but do we lack culture? Is the freedom taking away from our culture? And I don't speak for myself per se, because I like to think that I'm deeply cultured and I have these principles that align with people from other countries. And I think that has to do with your upbringing and not having as much when you were coming up. When you were growing up, you didn't have as much, so you were provided a certain level of intuition, a certain level of principles and morals that you could take with you throughout life. And I think what I'm noticing in watching these episodes. Again, we're only like able to see what the producers and how the producers allow us to see it. So I take that into consideration. I also take into consideration that these are people that have a whole camera crew around them while they're experiencing this idea, this intimate idea of marriage. And that's what I take into consideration also when I'm watching these episodes, because marriage is supposed to be something intimate, shared between only two individuals. But these people are actually trying to create this idea that marriage should be displayed and put on a public platform. And that alone could be detrimental to the longevity of any marriage. So you're not going to really get to see the person who's really in front of you. But in this instance with Mike and Natalie, I think Natalie, especially after she was crushed by Mike, she really displayed her true self. And she showed her emotion, how hurt she was, and you saw it like genuinely. It's unfortunate to me how we have these people displaying what American culture looks like, and it's not everybody that's in American culture. That's what's unfortunate to see. I don't like to see things like that, especially someone get crushed with no options, no communication, scary in a world that they don't know nothing about, and now they have to go back home and find a way back to their country just because someone had a change of heart. I don't think you should have even applied for the show, applied for the K1 visa, applied to play with somebody's emotions in the first place. This is my take on 90 Day Fiance. I'm looking forward to making more videos like this. If you guys have a shared view as mine, please let me know in the comments section below. If you thinking differently, if you see it a little bit differently on this last episode of 90 Day Fiance, please let me know in the comments section below as well. I would love to hear from you. I would love to start creating more content like this. If you like this video, please consider dropping a like. And until next time, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Easy, y'all.